Welcome to 2026. I gotta tell you, I had a really hard time starting this recording this morning. I don't always know what I'm gonna talk about. A ton happened this week. I mean, it's a brand new year. We had Christmas. I grew as a mother, which means I experienced some difficulties as a mother. Lots of things shifted and happened and unfolded. I got clarity on my 2026 theme, but none of that seems relevant for this video today. And what I keep hearing is that something about my teas. So let me start with the tea I'm drinking. I'll just start there. This tea is enough. I actually brewed this last night. So this is last night's tea, drank at room temp. This is how I like to enjoy tea in the morning. Not super hot, not iced or super cold, especially on a cool Arizona morning. I enjoy it's almost like drinking a really fine glass of wine, right? You don't want to overcool it or overheat it. You really want to enjoy it. But this tea is called Enough. I actually designed it for a retreat leader who was leading retreats. For anyone who's into human design, this was designed for manifesting generators and generators. To help them make the switch from their not self state of frustrated. So that moment when you feel like you're frustrated, to help them make the switch to their signature theme of satisfaction. So this tea helps us when we're in that moment where we're fighting with ourselves and the world around us, right? We're frustrated because things are not going according to plan, because we have not been able to get the puzzle pieces working. And now I understand why I was struggling with what to say. This tea is actually the story of my week told in a tea. So the plants in this, just to give you an idea of the flavor that I'm sipping, is lavender, chamomile. So very traditional calming nervine options. But chamomile is really beautiful for when you're feeling inconsolable. And lavender is incredibly good for anxiety. And when I use the word anxiety, I use it in more of a generalized term to say that when the nervous system is feeling over responsive to things. So lavender's been a key ally during my journey to kind of settle and relax and calm and soothe my nervous system for a general over responsiveness. I don't, just so you know, I don't look at anxiety as an emotion. One of my first ketamine journeys, what I learned about anxiety for me, and this was just my experience of it, is anxiety wasn't an emotion for me. Anxiety was a state of my nervous system, and it could have a lot of different things underlying it. And so it was really just my nervous system was over. It was like I was running away from myself, is the way I used to describe it. It's a feeling that I was running ahead and I was still back here. And somehow there was a gap, right? Like I'm running after something and I'm chasing something that I can't catch up on. And so when I looked at it more as that and stepped away from it being an emotion, it really helped me transform my relationship with my body, with my nervous system. And now we're coming full circle. Got the message this morning we'd be talking about the nervous system. Just took me a little bit to get there. And how my nervous system has transformed for me over the last few months. And how I'm going to continue to evolve it in the months to come. Oh, that's so helpful. I also have honeysuckle in this tea. Honeysuckle is really beautiful for digestion. It's also a lovely like antibacterial as well for that area. Jasmine, which is another very calming, uplifting plant. Magnolia flower bud, really good for clearing sinuses, congestion in the head space. Thyme leaf, also really good for respiratory clearing. Red clover blossom, really beautiful for the urinary system. Orange peel, it's also good for the hormones. Orange peel, which is a beautiful brightening, lightening energy. And then yarrow, which is kind of an all-around, actually. Yarrow's good for a lot of different things. But if I sit with each one of these herbs, they have a feeling about them. So remember that there's, two reasons for these herbs. One is all the phytochemicals in them and what they do for your body. But what is underlying that is that they have an energetic imprint. So if I sit with, for instance, lavender, and I call it in, and go ahead and do this along with me, guys. Call in lavender and feel what she feels like in your body. So I feel a rotation, a spin, soft landing. So it's a downward rotation or spiral and a soft landing in my root. That's what I feel. Like a soft sheet, not a heavy blanket, but like a soft sheet. And I wrap it around. A gentle layer of soothing and protection without being like heavy, right? And constricting. Thank you, lavender. And so each one of these herbs carries a signature imprint. And so when I designed this tea, I designed it to create a soft landing. I designed it to have a gentle downward spiral of energy that releases tension in the back of the head, the neck, the jaw, the temple, all of that, so that you can kind of release those areas that are frustrated and allow your energy to land softly in your gut, softly in your root, softly in your center of stabilization. And that's actually the message of this week for me, has been a lot of landing softly. How do I not go out and fix things, but just land softly within myself and allow clarity to emerge, allow answers to emerge, allow things to come closer to me, where my doing just naturally flows from a space of being, which has been really my theme for the last 6 months, maybe, if not more. It's been my focus. So enough is perfect. Cheers. Because it's really helping to settle my energy and land softly in my body. Now, interestingly enough, 2 herbs make themselves known to me this morning, and actually one of them, Dandelion, has been coming to me now for quite a while. I've had several visions of Dandelion. It came to me yesterday as important. It came to me this morning as important. So let's go ahead and actually ask Dandelion to come in and see what we feel. See the difference? I feel her as a wrapping around of my body. It's an upward spiral of energy, which is really interesting because dandelion root is incredibly grounding, beautifully protective for the liver, helpful for detoxification, nutritive. Like dandelion is across the board really beautiful. And there is a little bit of difference. There's actually quite a bit of difference between the leaves, the flowers, so the upper parts of the plant, and the root, which is why you can get them separately or mix them. I've been definitely feeling like I need them as a whole plant cocktail, but I don't happen to have the leaves right now, so I guess I'm going to be adding some to my next herb order for sure, or picking some up because it feels like I'd like to experience the whole plant together. See, this is how I add new herbs to my apothecary. It'll be just like a moment, and usually I'll have like multiple nudges that I need to meet a new plant, or it'll show up for me in an environment and I'll suddenly pay attention. One of the philosophies I talk about a lot is that a part of you is always paying attention. And a lot of the work that we're doing when we do energy work is releasing the veils or the layers between the part of us that's always paying attention and the part of us that's out there thinking and moving through the world, right, in a really conscious way. And when we release a lot of those layers of veils, right, the stories, the rumination, the voices in our heads, all that, when a lot of that starts to, and I don't even want to say release, but integrate, reintegrate, and be healed, it's not that you have silence and stillness per se. It's that you move with energy more seamlessly, and the part of you that's always paying attention, you can hear it a little bit more. And you start to realize that when you snap to in a conversation, it's because a part of that's relevant for you. You start to realize you can tune out and tune back in because there is a part of you that is always listening, that's always on. And that part of you is wise and sage and knows what you need to know, what you need to consciously understand. So if I find myself snapping to or consistently getting visions of a plant, I know that that plant is important for me. So dandelion root is important for me right now. So is dandelion as a plant as a whole. So I'm going to go explore and work with that plant. I have it in several of my teas, but it's feeling like I want to work with it in a dedicated way. The other herb that's coming up for me is moringa leaf. Moringa leaf is a beautiful nutritive. So if you look at these two together, number one, isn't this color together really great? But two, together they make a very powerful, I'm in a detoxifying stage right now in my body and my process of healing. After West Nile, then through autoimmune, my ANA titer was elevated, so I had a pro-inflammatory environment, and then I went through the inflammation stage, right, where your body is having inflammation as part of healing. My symptoms actually got better during the inflammation stage overall, so I've been getting better and better on symptoms, but my body has stepped through different periods of time as it's going through this healing journey to, you know, heal 40 years of stuff. And so currently I'm at a detoxification phase. And you can usually tell when you're in a detoxification phase because you start craving a lot of really fresh foods. So fruits and vegetables and lots of clean foods, lots of fiber, lots of nutrients, a lot of antioxidants, lots of things that are going to help your body on a cellular level and on a digestive level. Clear, clean, purge, right? All of that. I may not tolerate fried foods as well during those periods, right? So I'm definitely in a phase of really, really, really cleaning things out. And I'm actually on a lymphatic, homeopathic too for detoxification of my lymphatic system. So I can feel it, right? I can always feel by what I'm drawn to. But these two herbs are going to be perfect for that process. So I'm excited to make myself a custom Jenny tea today with these two herbs. And I'm sharing this because this is how you start to work with different things that are good for your body. I work with outside professionals for sure, but also, you know. So when an outside professional recommends something to me, I'm still tapping into my intuition to say, is this right for me? I have a great partner I work with that does this amazing scan for me and helps me identify things. And she's like, well, your body's showing these as top. And I'm like, I'm not getting a yes for them. And she'll run the models and say, oh yeah, I see why. They're only affecting 3 out of your 4 points or whatever that's out of alignment. Let's try a little bit deeper. And she'll go into the list and then all of a sudden she'll read one off and I'll be like, that's the one. And she'll run the scan and be like, yep, that one's going to actually solve your stuff. So like it's a partnership between you and your professionals all the time, right? It's a partnership. And part of what I feel is important for coming into 2026 is recognizing that you are your own advocate. You know your body better than anyone else. So work with professionals, engage with them, their wisdom, read books, do all the things, but just know that you are a unique representation of matter, right? You have a unique genetic makeup, energetic makeup, spiritual makeup, all of that, right? You are unique and you're so much more than matter, for the record. But you are where you are, doing what you're doing, experiencing what you're experiencing for a reason. So yes, you are part of the whole and your makeup is completely unique to you. So personalizing and understanding how to select herbs for where you're at in the journey and how to use data and recommendations given to us by professionals is extremely important. Okay, that was my soapbox. But I'm going to be making some dandelion and moringa tea after this. And so let's talk about settling. I'm going to kind of pull back to enough. I'm settling into my body. And actually, so it's so funny, you guys. Here's what's going through my head right now. I'm drinking enough tea, which is a soft landing for satisfaction. But I'm being drawn to 2 teas that have an upward moving energy for me. 2 herbs. Detoxifying but upward moving, which isn't, by the way, a traditional combination I'm used to. I know Moringa has an upward moving energy. I use it in bliss which is one of my top upward moving teas. So Bliss is an elevating tea that circulates the energy, or up. It aligns, actually, I shouldn't say circulates. It aligns the energy like a zipper pull. So what Bliss feels like in your body is, imagine at your root, boop, 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 like the zipper pulls up, and it's going all the way up your chakra system and out. I have herbs in it that work with releasing stagnation at every energy center in your body. So I worked with herbs that would work everywhere from digestion to reproductive to all the way up. Everything has an upward movement in your body, so it's really aligning and coordinating. And so Moringa is a key herb in that, along with other teas that I have that upward movement, or that need the upward movement to balance out. I have a lot of teas that have specific circulation patterns in your body, and so it may need to move up before it moves back down and clears through things, depending on the circulation pattern. So I'm feeling called to talk a little bit about my formulation process today. So when I formulate a tea, the first thing that I do is say, if you want this energetic state, what's happening in your body? And I actually meditate and I call in that energetic state and I feel it in my own body. So what is circulating where? What chakras are opening up? What meridians are getting touched, right? And I feel it as a pattern. It's a spatial awareness for me. So it's okay, things are coming up the shoulders, across and around the head. Like, it feels like a pattern, an energy pattern. Then I write down that energy pattern. I come up with a tagline. So the name of the tea and the tagline are typically next, although not always. Because the tagline tells me what are the words that I'm using that will reach the human who's having this challenge. Because all of my teas are about creating an energetic state, and the tagline starts with the challenge that you're experiencing and then the way that this tea creates that energetic state for you. So as an example, enough, the tagline is frustrated, sip your way to satisfied. Or sip yourself satisfied. I'm playing with different options. By the way, would love any sort of feedback you have if one is more, draws you in more than another. But this tea really is about recognizing that you are enough, that this is enough. And I don't even want to say this is enough, but you are enough, I am enough. Like, is really the core of this tea. And once you recognize that you are enough, we don't need to force things anymore. And that forcing is what creates frustration, because we're forcing it and then it doesn't happen and we have friction. And frustration and friction are very closely tied together. So this tea is all about releasing force by recognizing that you are enough, and so therefore you don't need to force anything to happen. And that allows things to ironically happen more, because energy is like water and steam, right? It flows into spaces. I say steam. My coach recently gave me this analogy and I really liked it. Water flows, but it's stuck to the ground, right? But steam can actually go into the air and into other places, so it's even a more expansive version. But you can't grab it, right? Both water and steam are going to fall through your hands if you try to grab it. They really move to fill places. Energy is similar in that we really want our energy to be operating in a space where it can fill with ease any space or container that it's given. And so to do that, we aren't forcing it, right? We're carving out paths for it to flow naturally. And so that's a lot of the work that we do, is we're more carving out paths. We're saying, oh, let's actually, I always say, if you're in a kayak and you're going downstream, you're going to use your paddles for direction, but you're not going to force like, no, you're not going to do that. What we're going to do is carve the path so that the river is flowing in a way that feels really good for us, and then we're using our paddles to course correct. So all of this energy use for conscious work that we're doing is limited to these interventions. And that's how we use our energy the most effectively. We need then much less energy to have much greater impact in the world and to experience a much greater level of happiness and fulfillment. It's basically like we're improving the energy to outcome ratio, understanding that outcomes aren't really about what we have, although we may have a lot. And this is a big part of manifesting, right? We may create a lot, but I will say that doing this work has allowed me to find freedom and abundance, whether or not my income statement looks a certain way. I have found so much more happiness and fulfillment, and no longer is it dependent on a certain degree of like what I used to have a box that said financial success looks like this. Now I've widened my box. I've recognized there's a lot of different ways that I can receive financial support or financial success. And it doesn't just have to look like what's coming back on my income statement. There's a lot of different ways, right? And this is what billionaires see, right? They're not just looking at what's coming in on the income statement, right? They're looking at all kinds of different things, like investments, like timing. Like, I mean, if you think about it, the truly, truly financially successful people see much more fluidity in money than those of us who maybe have historically been a little bit more in the box financially. And I have definitely been an in the box financial person for decades, right? Where it's about how much do I have in the bank? How much is coming in on my income statements? What does my tax returns say I made? Like very like closed view of what success financially looks like. And so as I've healed my relationship with money, that view of success has widened, and now I'm able to take on a lot more beautiful and interesting challenges and successes and experiences with money. And the result has been more fulfillment, more happiness, and more joy, independent of what's coming back on that statement. And so that is really fundamentally, when we do this work, what's happening is we're opening ourselves up to broader definitions. And so manifestation, if we get really rigid and lock ourselves into a very specific physical outcome, either we may get it and not have happiness, or we may not get it because it's not in alignment with what we need. So a lot of the work that I do with clients as they move into manifestation is really getting into the desire underneath the desire. So what is it that you really want to manifest? And how do you open up your worldview to see more possibilities? Because that's really what energy work is. It's opening ourselves up to experiencing more possibilities. And I'm really drawn to this lotus mudra right now. Can't tell you why, but I am. A friend of mine was doing this the other day, and I was just like, oh, that feels so good. So cheers to sipping yourself satisfied. But once I get that energy imprint, then I start to ask and call in herbs that will fit into that. And so some of the ones I'll receive just by like nudges. Like I'll get a list, a download. I'll see the flowers, I'll feel them, I'll sense them. They'll come to mind as an idea. So I just write down everything that's coming to mind. And then I might go over and scan my shelves and might pull off, like I did this morning. You know, this one actually came to me through another channel. This one I actually felt on my shelves. So I'll pull those in as well, kind of list them all out. And then I will start to look at what's actually in the tea. Where's their choices? Because sometimes I'm being given like 4 different options for one herb. And so it's about playing with that. And then I look at, okay, where do I have gaps needed to complete this tea? And once I get to kind of a list, then there's usually some holes to plug. And then I actually run through a little bit of a gap analysis. And I say, okay, if this is all of the energy centers that I want to move energy through, am I successfully doing that with these set of teas I have? Or do I have ones that I'm not touching enough? Like, am I not touching the sacral enough? Am I not having enough upward movement or whatever? And every step along the way, I ask the tea in its current stage of formulation to show me what it feels like. And I compare it to that original energetic imprint that I've basically designed and said, okay, is it meeting that? Or that I've received. I'm going to say received because I know that I'm receiving this. This isn't just, it is a design, but it's a collaborative design with the universe. I know that I'm receiving downloads. For any of you that haven't read the book, The Creative Act by Rick Rubin, I highly recommend it. As he says, creativity isn't just about like producing a piece of art. Your life is a piece of art. So anyone who's looking to expand or bring more creativity into their life and how they create their life, because if you're feeling stuck in your life, then what you need is more creativity to create your life. The power to create your own life is an act, a radical act of creativity. So every single one of us needs creativity in our lives. And so the book, The Creative Act, is beautiful because it's essays and it's like 1 or 2 pages long. Really gets you thinking about what creativity means. How do you tap into source energy? Recognizing that you are receiving creative inputs from a world much broader than yourself. And my teas are an act of creativity. They're a radical act of creation. And I know that I receive my recipes from, not just from myself, but from these plants, from, from the world. I'm getting these recipes downloaded. So it's not just me. I always want to honor that. I recognize that. And so along the way, I asked to feel the recipe and be like, oh, if I do it this way, there's a little bit of tension created in the head, or there's not enough release in the neck. And so I can go through that process, curate what I choose to include. When I start to get up to 19 or 20 herbs, I know it's probably too much, you're adding a lot of complexity. And are you really getting the bang for your buck at that point? Probably not. So that's usually when I reformulate for simplicity, to get it down to 10 to 15 herbs, which is really my sweet spot. Although some of my best teas have less than that. Most of my teas have around 10 to 15 herbs in them. And then little by little over time, I'll get things to change about the formulations to up-level them. So I'm consistently creating that up-leveling experience within my teas. So that felt important. And it feels important because it's important for you to know that you can channel any energetic state that you would like. So what would you like for 2026? What do I want for 2026? I have some tears forming. And that's because I'm saying goodbye to a lot in 2026 in order to create the space for what's next, in order to move with the flow of life. So I'm a life path 9, which for those of you into numerology, you'll know that means endings, release of attachments. It's a culmination life path number. It's all about being able to release attachment and expectations in order to allow for the beautiful completion of closure, new beginnings, that kind of thing. 9 represents the endings and beginnings. So it's not uncommon for 9s to be humanitarian healers, in service, because that's like, it's the culmination before we start over again at 1. And 1 being one life paths being where you are, you're leading. It's about disruption, decisive beginnings, right? Impactful kind of creation, being out ahead of the pack. 1s are innovators. And so 9s are kind of all about successfully bringing things to completion and learning to do that in a beautiful way. And so there's a lot of goodbyes. This was a 9 year. I'm a 9 life path. There's going to be more goodbyes heading into the next year as I get ready to start something completely new. And so what I'm seeing now in my visual space is just loose ends wrapping up. I can see knots being tied, and then things are being fused together. Relationships are being uplifted and upgraded, reinvented to support where I'm going. Connections are being made. So what energetic state do I want in 2026? I want to shine my light so completely and so fully. I want to have the courage to be seen and not be attached to what that means. And so today I want you to envision your energetic state. I'm envisioning mine. This courage to be seen, to be illuminated. There's a star, there's an orb inside of me expanding out, filling more and more space as I choose to elevate and allow myself to be seen. And recognizing that means that everyone else around me, I also want to be seen in equal light. Like, this is about elevating people's individual ability to and desire to fully shine their light, to be seen, and to recognize that Anytime I'm stepping into a room or a space, it's serving whatever purpose it needs to serve. And that it is 100% okay if for some people are like, that's not for me, and other people are like, that is for me. Or if people take away from it things, even by the friction it creates in their life, none of that actually matters. That what matters is that I have the courage to be 100% me and to show up in alignment with the calling that I have. Just like that's what I want for you. Our lights don't have to dim each other's lights. There's more than enough energy for all of us to shine. And imagine what the world would look like if everyone's light were shining brilliantly and boldly, without fear, without needing to control anyone else's light, without worrying about what that light does to other people. Imagine what it would look like if we were all seen. I'm seeing a beautiful pair of blue eyes, floating eyes above. I've seen them before. And so if you're seeing them too, let yourself be seen in this moment. Just as I'm letting myself be seen in this moment. Let's let ourselves be seen. Let's let everyone be seen. Now I'm seeing thousands of orbs just beautifully elevating. And I'm going to call in Moringa right now to support this process. For me, at least. You're welcome to call it in if it feels good for you, and if not, don't. But I can feel her. Actually, interestingly enough, Moringa has kind of a, I'm going to say them. I get a little bit more masculinity for whatever reason off of Moringa. So we'll just say them. And I feel held and soft and floating and complete. So what is it that you want for 2026? What's your theme? I'm just going to allow some space for everyone to see that, feel that, channel it. I'm seeing different orbs floating. This is a little bit from my recorded session. I'm seeing some imagery that's just has enough of an overlap, but that's telling me that maybe some of you here would benefit a lot from that recording. I did a thresholds, timelines, and transitions recording where it was about an hour long, and we played with how do you play with different timelines for 2026 and use that to help set your intentions. And this recording is not just relegated to a year's transition. It can be any sort of time you want to step into playing with timelines and planning. So if you're doing quarterly planning or monthly aligned to the moon cycles, if you're going more aligned to the seasons, or if you're doing aligned to the years, or just a cycle of life where you're feeling like you want to do some more of that, playing with timelines. This recording would be incredibly beautiful. So just put in the comments. I will have a link actually to reach out to me to purchase it. And then when I post it on my website, which I think I will here, shortly, I'll post the link to purchase it. So I'll give you the link to my store, but also just DM me, right? Just contact me, comments. I will reach out to you and we'll facilitate that if it's not posted yet. But shortly here in the next couple of days. I'm going to post that download because it feels really powerful for people to have access to that and have that as a download that you can do whenever you want to. And it's audio, so that you don't have to worry about, you could just put it on your playlist, start going, put in your headphones, lay down, experience it, take a walk, whatever feels good. Maybe you have a paper in front of you and you're actually vision boarding, meaning that you're drawing, moving your hand as you're experiencing your own timelines and seeing what emerges for you, whatever feels good for you. Ooh, I'm getting chills from that. But this is a great way to approach it. Yay. It'll be very, very, very affordable, and you can reuse it every year, so it'll be timeless. So I think for anyone that's feeling called to this work, let's make this happen. I will make it happen. And that seems to be the theme of the moment right now for me, is when I get these nudges, just make it happen. Let work naturally attrition and fall. That's not meant to thrive, and let the things that are meant to grow roots grow roots. But my call right now is really simple. It's make it happen. So make the things happen that I get the nudges to make happen. And it is keep the focus areas top of mind. And so for me, I'm going to go put those on record right now for Q1. Because we're going to revisit them throughout it. I have been in a state of more, I'm going to say, amorphous creation. And now I'm moving into a place of a little bit more increased focus, which is beautiful, but with a huge amount of flexibility I've never had before. So it's really like I'm merging my worlds. I used to be a planner, an operations expert, a program manager, right? A business coach, spreadsheets, plans, timelines, a project manager. I'm a certified program manager and project manager. And I've done it all, right? Everywhere from strategic transformation to technical implementation to Agile and Scrum. So like I had a team of 57 PMs before I left corporate. So like you're talking to a girl who knows how to plan and how to think about interdependencies. In my heart, I'm actually creative and very nimble. And so what I've been doing over the last year is starting to merge these worlds together. And this year feels like things are really starting to click as to how do I bring this together? How do I create cohesion, the gift of my ability to plan and create and simplify, and pull that together with this ability to feel and play outside of the ideation, the play, the input. Like I have a lot of attributes in my strengths that are more about collecting lots of things, but then simplifying and moving forward with the one. And the more that I just feel that and move and create and let it, the more things are just naturally, I'm having attrition where it needs to be there. I'm continuing at what needs to be there. And I'm teaching people how to release control at the same time by doing that. The people in my life, the people in my purview. So my 3 right now for Q1 that I'm getting to elevate are my van, and something about California. So still exploring exactly what that means. And then it's my relationship with California, I think is what it is. It's establishing a foundation in a relationship with the state and the natural spirits there, the natural world there, as well as the people there and the place. So there's something about California that's really important this quarter, and that's more of an exploratory stage. The van is more about, bringing that van into my my world. And then the priority is to get a footprint in Phoenix. So that means physical events, housing events, getting a community built, getting my tea put into retail situations, selling my teas more broadly, being in markets. And it means essentially building partnerships. So getting an entire footprint of my teas in the Phoenix metro, and then creating a replicable model that I can pick up and put into different markets. So the goal is 3 months, but really I understand that I'll be prototyping and building. So it may take 6 to 9 for me to really get that footprint going. But that is my focuses. And there's going to be along the way some new teas. I can already feel Simplicity as a tea that's being born now. I have several teas that I've already designed that are going to end up being added to my website and put into my collection. I can already feel a couple of them emerging as important. And I'm really excited for that. So those are my Q1 focus areas. I've got some that are more play, some that are more, okay, I know what I want, it's just making it happen, and some that are more, I'm going to say, building blocks. And so I love it. It's such a great combination of ways that I get to play. And along the way, I'll record these episodes. I'll keep engaging you. You can keep growing and learning with me, because that's what this is all about. I mean, that's what these episodes are about, is growing and learning with me. My clients, I'm in much more of a position, or my membership community, of actually doing it in service to you, right? I'm creating an experience for you to grow. And this is more about you kind of coming alongside, linking arms, and we're growing together. You're getting to see my fumbling, my not having things all organized, my exploration live. And the purpose of this is to really understand that you can have the same experience, your own version of it, right alongside me. So it's, crack a cup of coffee, think about your own reality, tune me out for a while I'm playing in the background. And then every time something interesting comes on, go explore it for yourself. But this is about us linking arms side by side, human beings going on this journey together. So come with me in 2026 and let's go on this journey together. Subscribe, like, and share this with other people, and start to make a practice around exploring your own growth in this really beautiful, messy way. Because this is where the magic happens, when you sit down and spend 45 minutes just being with yourself, being with me, being with yourself. Let's be the friends, linking arms. That's why I'm doing this work, so that we can all just be side by side together doing this work together. So cheers to 2026. May this be the most amazing year of organic growth that you've ever experienced, where it can feel good. It can feel empowering and mobilizing. It can be everything that you want it to be. It doesn't have to be hard. And may this be the year where you rewrite that story, that it can be playful and simple and messy and awesome all at the same time. So cheers to 2026. You are enough. I am enough. So let's make this year more than enough.